Indian origin New York Mayor Mr. Zohran Mamdani, he is facing intense backlash after unveiling a sweeping housing and economic reform plan called Block by Block. Mr. Mamdani says that New York is becoming impossible for the ordinary people to survive, and rent prices are exploding. Middle class families are leaving the city. Young professionals are drowning in expenses. And even people earning very decent salaries say that they cannot afford a stable housing anymore. According to reports, average rent in parts of New York City, it has crossed record level, while grocery price, transportation cost and healthcare expenses that continue rising sharply. And that is why Mr. Mamdani's proposal, it includes aggressive affordable housing construction, stronger tenant protection, in fact pressure on bad landlords, extended public housing rent stabilization measures, worker protection and larger government involvement in housing market here. Well, supporters, they say that this particular plan, it finally addresses New York's affordability disaster very seriously. Many young voters, they argue that America's biggest cities are becoming playgrounds only for billionaires, corporations and wealthy investors, while ordinary working families, they struggle to survive paycheck to paycheck. But critics, they are very angry. Business groups and conservative commentators, they accuse Mr. Mamdani of pushing socialist-style policy that could scare developers away, reduce the investment, hurt property market, and create long-term economic instability. Some opponents even compared parts of the proposal to government-controlled housing experiments that kind of failed historically. And tonight, the controversy that is becoming deeply emotional because New York itself, it symbolizes modern American inequality. Luxury skyscrapers that continue rising while homelessness, rent stress, and financial anxiety spread across working-class neighborhoods. In fact, many immigrants, they are also divided over Mr. Mamdani. Some Indian Americans support his focus on affordability and worker protection, while others, they fear aggressive government intervention. It could damage business confidence and economic growth, specifically in a city like New York. New York is becoming a political battlefield, by the way, and that too over one giant question. Should governments interfere more aggressively just to protect the ordinary people from economic collapse? Or would that make America's economic problems even worse? Tonight, Europe is reportedly becoming a critical logistics support hub for the US military operations that are linked to Iran tension here. Satellite images and flight tracking data, it reportedly shows large buildups of KC-135 aerial refueling aircraft across bases in the United Kingdom, Germany and broader NATO infrastructure zones. Now, these are the aircrafts that are extremely important because they do allow long-range bombing mission. They allow sustained air operation. They allow the aerial fighter refueling, intelligence mission, and extended military presence, and that too over the whole West Asia. In the meantime, military analysts, they say that this type of build-up, it strongly suggests preparation for prolonged operational capability rather than symbolic short-term deployment here. Well, Iranian media itself, it is already accusing the whole Europe of quietly helping America expand military pressure against Washington here. And tonight, one major fear, it's growing again and again. If NATO infrastructure becomes deeply involved operationally, Iran could eventually widen cyber retaliation or maybe political retaliation beyond the whole West Asia itself. And this also reveals something very important, but this time strategically. Washington may not be acting alone nearly as much as Tehran publicly claims. Europe may be more involved behind the scenes than many people do realize. And yes, while military alliances quietly prepare for escalation, political controversy is now exploding inside New York City itself.